Good afternoon, everybody. It's so amazing to be here with all of you. What a fantastic session we just had on search. It was truly eye-opening. I'll cover it some more in detail, and then you also have a couple of master classes coming up today. Well, let's start with a quick confession. The festive season is just around the corner, and I know there are 3 things as part of the agenda for every CMO in the room. The first is a lot of black coffee, a lot of sleepless nights, and an intense pressure to drive 10x growth with budgets that feel like 2012, right? And to top it all, every second email that you get talks about AI. Well, we're all in the same boat. It's the same pressure that we all feel. And over the next 15, 20 minutes, what I will try to do is unpack with you what the real change in consumer behavior is today, and then how can you use that and stand out and win the heart and the share of wallet for all these consumers in this upcoming festive season. Now, if you've been following the news in AI, just in the last 2 weeks, we've launched Gemini 3.6 Flash, Gemini 3.5 Flash Lite, 3.5 Flash Cyber, and just last week we launched our latest update to physical agents, which is the Gemini Robotic ER Model 2. Now, you don't need to memorize all these models, but what you can truly see is that the pace of AI innovation is actually supersonic. But you know what the real news is? The pace of consumer change is actually even further and even crazier. Let's look at what's happening on ground. See, a year ago, we all were sitting in marketing boardrooms, and we said that AI will dramatically transform the user journey, it will shorten it, it will become a robotic journey of a single click. You press buy shoes, and voila, AI will do the purchase on your behalf, right? But actually, humans are delightfully inefficient at that. What's happened is AI has truly exploded the consumer journey today. It's made it wider, it's made it deeper, and it's made it infinitely more creative. Now, for those of you who were with us yesterday, Priya touched upon this, right? A consumer who uses AI today touches about 13 touch points versus only 5.5 for a non-AI user. That's a massive shift, right? You can clearly see how this journey has fully exploded. And why is this happening? This is happening because of what this panel touched upon earlier. Consumers are now able to do this deep research in just these micro milliseconds. And what's that done is it made their journey non-linear, a lot more involved, a lot more unpredictable at that. Now, how do you make sense of these 13 touch points, right? So what we've done is we've categorized these into 4 distinct behaviors that consumers seamlessly move across in a sort of non-linear journey. We call this searching, streaming, scrolling, and shopping. Now, the million-dollar question for all the brands out here is that how does your brand show up in all of these 4 consumer behaviors at the right moment, at the right time? Well, you don't need 4 different agencies. You don't need 4 different strategies. All you need is Google and YouTube. Because Google and YouTube is what makes you show up in all of these 4 behaviors, powered by the industry-leading AI that we have with us. And now, if you are thinking this behavior that I'm talking about is only happening with a metro or a millennial, tech-savvy user like me, well, that's not the case. This behavior has truly become mainstream. Right from Gen Zs, where about 9 in 10 shoppers are daily on Google and YouTube, all the way to tier 2 and 3, where users are doing exactly the same thing. So whether it's a college student in Mumbai looking for a face wash, or a homemaker in tier 2, 3 towns looking to buy a mobile phone, all of them are searching, streaming, scrolling, and shopping. Now, let me break down why this is exactly happening, right? Let's start with search, which the panel also recently touched upon. See, for decades, search gave you information, and Sid also spoke to you about this. Now, AI has actually supercharged search. It's made it conversational, personal, very intelligent, agentic as well. So instead of typing these robotic small queries like Goa hotels, people are actually asking deep, thoughtful, meaningful queries like, can you plan a 3-day itinerary in Goa for my kids, which is very close to the beach but doesn't have these loud noises? You see the drift, right? Like, these are questions which are very, very highly involved. And search actually understands all of these. And it gives you the right answer. It curates all of this on your behalf. And this is exactly why we are seeing these numbers. Like AI mode is already 1 billion users now, and people are trusting it. 87% people make decisions with AI now, and they feel a lot more confident. And this trust is also driving usage. Like last quarter, AI usage on search was the highest ever. Like it was our biggest quarter ever with search. So people aren't just searching less due to AI. They're actually searching even more because search now understands them truly. Let's talk about streaming. You're all aware, I don't need to tell you that YouTube is the #1 platform in reach and watch time. But you know what's the real game changer? YouTube is also now in living rooms. With connected TV, YouTube is reaching about 75 million households. This is the premium audience that each one of you is after, right? And it is the #1 platform to reach that audience as well. So families are no longer fighting with the remote. They're actually coming together and watching their favorite creators right in the living room. And why they're doing this? Because they trust these creators. 88% of users say that they trust the creator content that comes on YouTube. So in this world of fake news and a lot of these news that you hear online, it's actually creators that seem to be the friends that people trust the recommendations of. Now, this trust is also coming into scrolling, right, which is the short form video space. And I know when I say short form, a lot of you think about, hey, that's the other app, right, that nobody talks about it. Well, here's a reality check for you, ladies and gentlemen. 45% of YouTube Shorts users don't actually use Instagram Reels. And the ones that do end up using both, they use YouTube a lot more. So if you are only building your campaigns for the other app, you're actually missing out on half of your audience that could be really, really valuable for you. Think about this. And finally, the ultimate S, like the fourth S, which is shopping, which is where the rubber hits the road. Today, shopping isn't just about static catalogs. It's a lot around shoptainment, as we call it. It's around being part of these video feeds. And consumers are watching creators unbox. They're watching them style the favorite clothing that they want. They're watching them add reviews. And they're buying all of this instantly after this journey right via YouTube due to the partnerships that we have with the likes of Myntra, Nykaa, Tira, Flipkart, and many more. And we see this happening because we are also seeing that the watch time on shopping is actually through the roof. 55% year-over-year growth. That's staggering, right? So consumers see this, they see their creators, they love it, and they instantly buy it, all via YouTube. Shopping is also evolving with AI. Like, there's nothing that happens today without AI, right? And under the hood, if you see, this revolution is being brought by Google's shopping graph. It's the largest data set. It has about 60 billion listings on it, and it gets updated in real time. So we have all this crunch data that you need for shopping. It all exists with the shopping graph. And now if you add to this graph the power of Google and YouTube, the trust, and supercharge it with Gemini, you get the intent engine like never before, which is called agentic commerce. See, what agentic commerce does is, it doesn't just show up your products. It actually marries your product to the consumer who's looking for you real time in the moment when they're about to make that purchase, because it understands intent at its peak. So this is how consumers are actually behaving across each of these 4 S's. And only Google and YouTube, like I said before, and I'll say this a couple of times as well, only Google and YouTube, powered with our best AI, can help you actually stand out in all of these 4 S's together. Now, as CMOs, I know what you guys are thinking, right? You'll say, this is a beautiful story, a great narrative, but my CXO or my CFO is actually asking me hard numbers. They're asking me ROI. So you should screenshot the next slide. Because when brands come with us and they do this full might of Google and YouTube, they see 1.6 times higher ROI, and that's much higher than any other platform out there. Right? This is a staggering number. This is what all of us are after. And don't take my word for it. Look at some of the brands that are already leveraging this and are seeing great results. Like Myntra, they ran AI Max campaigns and saw 13 times year-over-year revenue growth at about 27% more efficient ROAS. The likes of Hyundai, auto, again, a big category for Festive. They used the full might of demand gen, search, YouTube together, and saw their sales skyrocket to 49% growth. Maggie, one of the most loved brands in the category, with Nestle, they used our commerce media solutions with search and saw 8% lift in GMV and 6% lift on Blinkit as well. And lastly, even the likes of Acco, they partner with us so closely across our entire product suite for all of their businesses. And they're seeing some handsome growth, business growth across all of their verticals. Now, these are not any stories. These are hard sales efficiency scale numbers that we're talking about. And this, you will see, is happening across brands of all sizes, across all categories. All brands that are partnering closely with Google and YouTube, utilizing the full might of the solutions, are seeing some fantastic results. Now, shifting gear to the second part of the story, which is now that you've learned all of this, you've learned 4S, you've learned how this can really drive ROI, how do you make use of it in Festive, right? Because for brands and marketers like us, this is the ultimate arena. This is what we train all the year for. And last year, we saw about 27% growth in overall Festive consumption. And if that's anything to go by, we are in for a blockbuster 2026. Because in 2026, we are going to see a 1.2 lakh crore in consumption happening in just the Festive season. So how do we win this Festive season, right? Again, I'll leave you with a simple playbook with just 3 tips. First, be the spark. See, Festive shopping doesn't start with a rigid checklist. No consumer wakes up and says, today is the day I will go and buy 1.4 kg premium almonds, right? That doesn't happen. A lot of the Festive shopping starts with a spark, with an idea, with a feeling. And 8 in 10 shoppers actually look at visual content for that spark. And when you talk about visual content, the ones that they love the most are the ones that are curated by their creators. They don't watch these creators, they treat them as close friends, looking at recommendations from them. And all of this is happening on YouTube. This spark happens mostly on YouTube. It's the undisputed home for trusted, honest content creators. So how do you integrate in what these creators are building out and putting in front of the world, right? See, with solutions like YouTube AI Spotlight, this is a very new solution we launched. This dynamically curates video playlists across top Festive topics like Onam, Pujo, Diwali, and it helps your brand show up in these video playlists at the highest SOV. So you're right there at the center when the action is happening. But you can go a step further. You can club this with our highest performing and highest impactful solutions called the YouTube masthead and the first position moments. Think of this as buying a digital billboard right outside the biggest Festive market that exists. The only difference being every consumer that walks in has to look at your brand. So you're basically owning this cultural moment. Now that you've gotten the attention of the consumer, how do you make it actionable? Well, you make it actionable with the affiliate partnership boost. I spoke of how creators and us and brands are partnering together with platforms. So instead of trying to scream buy the product in that noise, what you can do is you can actually look at all these immersive creator videos that get created, and then you can run them as ads, make it instantly shoppable and actionable. And this, by the way, drives the most intent of any other shopping video that exists out there. The creator shows the look, the viewer loves it, and they end up buying it, right? That's instantly converting inspiration into action. Next, now, when you have this spark, you've done your job, you've initiated this spark, how do you then convert this into a burning flame, right? How do you drive a lot more consideration? Well, this is where tip 2 comes in critical. You need to scale your localized creative. We've all learned it the hard way, right? That a single creative, if you run it nationally, it just doesn't cut ice. Because India is a beautifully diverse country. And creatives are very important. Because a great creative drives almost 49% of incremental sales. But how on earth do you create like 500 different types of creatives without either your agency becoming teary-eyed or your teams going mad? Well, you let AI do its job. We have Asset Studio exactly for this. What Asset Studio does is, you upload your official brand book once, it ingests all your fonts, your brand guidelines, your entire brand DNA, and generates 100% compliant creatives. So take one hero asset And then in seconds, you can create hyper-personalized videos and multiple variations of image assets. So you don't need to choose between scale and personalization. All of this happens in just minutes. Now, those were the 2 tips, right? Now we are at the final stage, the third and the most important one. See, you've inspired them. You've got their attention. You've now given them localized creative that directly speaks to them. So they are bought into your story. They have their wallets out. But the big problem today is there is no single platform or a single way in which the consumer buys. Your consumers might want to buy directly from your website or your app. Or your consumers might be like me, who might want to get it delivered in 10 minutes on a quick commerce website. Or they might want to just walk into a physical store, experience the product, and buy it right then and there. Now think about it. If your brand is missing in any of these moments, you're losing out on the sale, right? Which is where the third tip is the most important. You need to meet your consumers wherever they are shopping. What does this mean? First, for shoppers who are deeply researching with all of this goodness of AI, you run AI Max for Shopping. AI Max for Shopping uses Gemini to dynamically match your product feed with all these long, complex conversational queries that I spoke of, and it drives this high traffic, this intentful traffic, straight to your website. Second, for impulse buyers purchasing on quick com or e-com, we have integrated Commerce Media Suite right into Demand Gen. So all these immersive video assets that you create, you can take your consumers from there directly onto the likes of Blinkit, and then you can ensure that you're part of their carts as they start building it, right? You get this inspiration and convert it into action. And then finally, for those who want to walk into your store, we have something called PMax for Store Goals. This is where a consumer, when they're searching for something which is nearby available in a store, with maps and search, we direct them right into your store, right? So this traffic comes straight to your store, and they end up purchasing there. So that was your masterclass or a playbook for this 1.2 lakh crore season. You ignite the spark on YouTube. You show up right with deeply localized creatives with the help of AI, and then finally you meet your consumers wherever they are shopping, on your app, on e-commerce, or in your store. See, the Gemini advantage that I spoke about, that's not a cool algorithm. It's actually your business advantage. It turns all this complexity into simplicity. It turns all these views into actual carts and product purchases. This festive season, millions of consumers are now going to be searching, streaming, scrolling, and shopping. What we need to do together is to partner and ensure they do this with your brand. So thank you so much for being such a patient audience, and I wish you all the best for the upcoming festive season.